Was I your one and only? No, no, still I stood by you. Did you give me more than I bargained? Yeah, yeah. Drain the love out of my fountain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Still I stand by you. Yeah, you. Yes, there is one thing I need you to know about the small matter what you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Show me that you care. So we can be blessed now, minus the stress now. Yeah. No word of a lie. Oh. Me want the agony and ecstasy in a one. Turn the wheels of love in a forward motion. The agony plus devotion. No render my emotion in a garbage pan. The agony and ecstasy in a one. Turn the wheels of love in a forward motion. The agony plus devotion. No render my emotion in a garbage can. There is one thing I need you to know about this small matter what you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah, yeah. Show me that you care. So we can be blessed now, minus the stress now. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good night to you. Yes, indeed. This is the corridor transformation. Well, of course, the last day of the week for the transformation. But nonetheless, of course, we have to be grateful, and therefore what we are saying is that we are grateful to our blessed Trinidad and Tobago, and a Trinidad and Tobago that we expect will continue, of course, to sustain us. And I thought, of course, we should demonstrate some love, reggae style. Listen.
Simple as that, too.
Depend on the rest of my life. Oh, 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 one who appreciates me as his lover and as his wife. And I know just how it feels when you found that perfect someone. I found that someone special. No mistaking, I knew right from the start. Oh, 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 oh.
Yes, indeed. We want people to love us. We want a government that cares. We want a government that is very enthusiastic about making sure that the quality of life and standard of living of all of its citizens, regardless of their station in life and regardless of their abilities, because everybody has an ability. Some, of course, may be considered more important to the society than others, but the fact is that all must be treated equally. And if that doesn't happen, it means, therefore, you're going to have a problem. And, of course, we have seen that time and time again with the PNM. And, of course, we could put that in song as well. We could put that in song as well. This is what we saw with the PNM.
It's true. It's true.
Yes, indeed, of course, on the 28th of April last year, of course, we voted out the PNM for that despicable act that they committed, among others, of course, but Balize House notwithstanding. And tonight, of course, we will look at Balize House once again because, of course, the documents that was served on not the Treasury, but the trustees of the PNM is live, direct, and, of course, must be examined critically by you and I to determine whether or not we should keep, of course, the PNM in the dustbin and therefore delegate them to the dustbin of history. And this is what would transfer any government that creates, of course, that kind of havoc for the nation.
Finance, big shot, friends and family. So the whole of the country wants you now to stop lying. Cause the next election is a new party we voting. Like you forget your people once you in power and you're moving evil. You had the whole place sour. And now that we discover is 2% that they offer. This is one little thing that I want all you to remember. We fed up all your lives. You could do much better. Gas prices going up too high. The cost of living is getting harder. Guys, let me put in my copyright claim. I don't own the rights of the music played, neither the melody. I'm a madman, okay?
I want to invoke the doctor and then write him a letter. I want to ask him a question, if he knew what was going on. The other day I was passing, I hear people complaining. He is the man with the answer, but he quite over yonder. They say, snake in the Balize. Snake in the Balize.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Snake in the Balize. And they biting hard. Snake in the Balize. I'm sorry for Trinidad. Big snakes in the country, man, they worse than Mappy feet. When they're making the racket, they just dress up in nice jacket. Some big fat mackerel, drink out the oil in the oil well.
Yes, indeed. I thought it was important, of course, to start there because, of course, the program tonight is all about the Balisay and, of course, the PNM. And there are those, as I said, will not like us to talk because they claim or justification for that admonition or that what I consider to be fake advice is that the UNC and coalition is in government now and therefore we should be studying the PNM because they are out. Well, you should have told the PNM that when they were in office between 2015 and the 28th of April last year. And therefore, we know that that is a construct to sort of justify the existence of the PNM at this point in time when they should be relegated to the dustbin of history. And we were saying that before the election. So on this program, we are consistent. Don't tell us that because we know that that is hypocrisy. That is, of course, somebody trying, of course, to pursue what I consider a fake and amorphous PNM agenda. It cannot be. Because all of the PNM's 9 years was trying to do what? Put persons associated with the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisasa prior administration in handcuffs and what? And blue lights. Handcuffs and blue lights. How dare you try to insult our intelligence? And I know that has created, that statement by itself has created more what I consider to be not just agony mentally, but certainly animosity for the PNM by those who are within the PNM and who would have loved to give them some kind of what I consider to be a life raft. But there's no life raft here. We're taking no prisoners. And today, of course, I did mention certain things on the ground report, which, of course, I would want to do. But before we do that, of course, I have to introduce my co-host, Dr. COP. Pleasant good night to you, Doctor, you and your family, etc. But tonight seems to be a night dedicated to the Balisay. But let's hear you.
Good night to you, Lennox Smith. Good night to you and your family.
Just let's see what's happening here. I did something, yes. I did something bad. Okay, go ahead now. See?
You hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Good night to you, Lennox Smith, to you and your family. And good night to you, Lennox Smith, to you and your family, and to all listeners and viewers of the Corridor Transmission. I hear you say earlier on that putting the PNM in the political dustbin. That dustbin too clean. That dustbin too clean to put the PNM. You had to put them in the political sewer.
Latrine.
Latrine.
I hear you.
And that picture, that Tobagonian mouth over there, you had the right dental fame. That's the perfect dental. I agree with dealing with the PNM, and we must audit the PNM. We must audit the PNM. Let me say good night to all the viewers on the chat. Good night to you all. Welcome. Make sure and tell a friend that the Corridor Transformation is live. And send it out to all your friends. And then once you press that notification bell, anytime the Corridor Transformation come on, you'll hear your phone go poop poop, and you will get it. So while you're subscribing, make sure and press that notification bell too. Big thing in Balisay House. Big thing in San Fernando over here too.
Bacchanalia. After Bacchanalia. Imagine Manning is saying that they take him off the organization's chat.
For speaking the truth, For speaking the truth.
For speaking the truth, yes.
For speaking the truth, for speaking about the corruption take place in his electoral district, his constituency office, millions of dollars in contract. What should we do? Should we condemn Brian Manning or applaud him for speaking on the things that matters in life? He know the fact that in his constituency, those people he talking about did not deserve millions of dollars in contract, and he aware of that was corruption. He aware that was corruption. I had a game 10 out of 10 for speaking out, you know.
Well, I mean for speaking out, but let's leave it at that. Because, of course, the fact that he would have attached himself to the PNM at all, to me, cancels out that 10 out of 10.
Well, the 10 out of 10 might be a little biased. It have a little biasness in it over there. But otherwise, When
No,
a
no,
PNM
I'm
person
saying
come
I
out
agree
and
with you.
speak,
I agree with you that you give him 10% for talking out, but the fact that he attached himself to the PNM in the first place, I think cancels out whatever credence, whatever benefits he would have derived from that 10%. That's the point I'm making.
I think that the PNM itself cancel him out.
Yes, I think so. They are now canceling out themselves. But of course,
Yeah.
this thing
Fox
has
can't get the grapes, it's sour.
is generating all kinds of what I consider to be internecine, meaning that internal conflicts within the PNM. We have the situation where the political leader is absent at certain press conferences that one would have expected to be at. We have seen, of course, a certain senior officers, I should say, of the PNM having press conferences. You don't know if they are sanctioned or not. And then you have, of course, a sort of sidekick in the whole process, which is Dr. Rowley, making statements on his own and trying to cover both himself and his nominated, his appointed, of course, very ephemeral, very temporary prime minister. I'm talking about Stuart Young. And then, of course, we have a situation where Balize House itself, I think today or yesterday, the formal documentation was presented to the trustees of the party to account to the court as to how they got the monies for the construction of that monstrosity called Balize House. And I would want to add that is not part of the public space information, but I want to add because it will get there eventually. Having regard to the fact that you were in debt, according to Dr. Rowley, of over $5 million in 2015, how within 9 years you were able to get over $100 million to construct, as I say, that monstrosity of steel, concrete, iron, cement, brick, etc. How, and then what is even more glaring is the fact that you said that is contributions by ordinary rank and file of the party, and of course certain positions that people would have gotten wise in government. Well, my question is this: how come that didn't happen before? How come it didn't happen under Eric William come right back down the road? And how come it's only when you inherited over $1 million in debt you are now able to build something of that exorbitant price and cost? But more significantly, probably, now that you are out of office and don't have access to the treasury at will, we see that the entire project has stalled and been overtaken by nature, grass, vine, weed, and you never could tell what's inside of there. It might be a marijuana plantation. Who knows? But the fact is that the work has stalled. The COP, I lay my case on the platter. It is for you now, of course, to add, take away, or, of course, advance. Go ahead, my friend. The lines are open, people. I know that you're raring to come in on this topic. Go ahead.
And June Ramki Sunu wanted the number last night. We give out the number, so we expect it to call over it. But and somebody was awarded Balize House contract for $100 and something million.
Yes. A company was awarded it, and in the latter part of the election campaign before the 2025 elections, they were given, of course, a contract of multi-millions just before the flyover where Citrus Growers Association factory was operating. So we got that, and of course, but that has since stalled. That too project has still stalled. I passed there only today.
But how somebody could be awarded a contract to complete a building, and when the party award them that contract, the construction stop and bush growing on the building. So the party not asking and saying, "Hey, we pay you for a contract," and you're not finishing the work. The party not even saying that.
More than that, the fact is that it was the very Dr. Rowley who consumed the majority of that 9 years. said in no uncertain terms, and especially on the last rally of the 2025 elections campaign of the PNM, wrapping it up, he said, not a single contractor that would have been deployed by the PNM as a government would have worked on Balize House. Oh, what a blatant and unadulterated and unvarnished lie. They are caught with not just with their pants down, but maybe all what they have dangling or maybe fishy is now exposed.
And all the misconduct in public office must be exposed.
That's
they
right.
must be exposed. You can't sell barbecue, you can't sell barbecue lamb, you can't sell ribs, you can't sell tulum to reach $100 and something million to build Balize House. And if you did sell all them things, and you make that money, it would have been in our account.
And more than that, it cannot be for any modicum of consideration or logic that narcoleptic are talking about former Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, could be a good salesman, because Dr. Rowley was saying that he could sell raffle tickets too bad, but he couldn't do anything. In fact, he was the most bouncing minister in the Rowley or PNM administration. He moved from works, and then of course he went to he went to public utilities. And then when that wasn't enough, they give him a position behind Al-Rari in the office, or should I say the Ministry of the Attorney General, pushing pencil. And after that, I should say miraculously, but devastatingly, because miracles suggested that something good would have happened, but no. But devastatingly, he was anointed and appointed a minister of what? Of national security, a total and absolute disaster. And it was record after record breaking murders in Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, the level of murders and the level of disappointment has no limit when coming to not just these people, and this man, but who appointed him as well, which of course is the PNM and its leadership. So we are very, very conscious as to what has to be done. So I don't know if you want to make an input now before I go to our next level of this discussion.
Go ahead.
Yes, indeed. Well, the level of discussion I would want to engage is what we engaged this morning on the ground report. But I want to be a little more what I consider to be incisive, a little more eclectic, a little more what I consider to be, like the surgeon's knife, a little more deeper, and in terms of the cuts, it must be crisp and clear. Yes, it must be transparent, and of course, so pellucid that you would have no doubt but to agree with us at the end of this exercise, and of course continuing to have material so as to counter the nonsense that is being perpetrated from within the PNM, as though they don't have anything to account for or answer having regard to what they did. What is that? I said today on the ground report that we have to be very, very, very analytical when coming to the attempt by the PNM propaganda machinery, of course, which seemed to be out of oil. It seemed to be out of words. It seemed to be out of power. It seemed to be dead, in other words. Because, here it is. You are claiming that you are going to answer to every single accusation made in the courts as far as Balize House is concerned, but somehow you want the conversation or the investigation to also switch it to the UNC. Well, the UNC didn't build anything, first and foremost. So when they realized, I think it was the deputy political leader, an Indian fella, I don't know where he came from. But at any rate, he was talking at a press conference. I don't get me vex people before I play the press conference tonight, But it is so despicable and so hilarious and so horrendous and so stupid and so asinine that I don't want to sully tonight's program with that. I probably will play it on Monday. But he is saying that the UNC must be investigated as well. For what? In relation to a building? Nobody knows. But then, having realized that it's nonsense he talking, he come back and say, well, they're jealous because we building a building. And then, of course, he tried to carry the conversation into the most, what I consider to be puerile, infantile, nonsensical, and clearly a person who doesn't have a good sense of cognitive and intellectual capacity. Yeah, because here it is. He then go on to say, without an iota of proof that the UNC spend more money than we in the elections. Well, if that is so, even though that is irrelevant and Osho, well, show us, tell us. He wants to tell us that the UNC spend more money than them in an election. I don't know why he would come up with that, but I suppose, as Rowley once said, they must say something when they have nothing to say. So he's trying, of course, somehow to suggest that the PNM is a victim of some kind of what I consider to be UNC escapade. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. How the hell the UNC spending more money or vice versa? If there's anybody could spend more money in Trinidad and Tobago than the PNM on an election. Yeah? Look what is unfolding today. When we hear that a contractor that was working on Balize House got a multi-million dollar contract just before, what do you think that is? When, before the elections, over $200 million was spent on the mothball or the shutdown first tranche of that gas plant. There was no need to spend it. Nobody could account for it. Nobody could account for more than 3/4 of the monies that was spent on COVID. All of that is slush fund, and therefore political funds. And let me go further. These unnecessary set of community centers and physical libraries that were dotting the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago out of sight. Many of the media couldn't pick it up, but even if they did, they may want to slip it under the rug simply because they are in support of or in the pockets of the PNM. But all of these projects, unnecessary, ocious, irrelevant. You cannot put a community center in a well-to-do community. I see even Trin City get one. You put community centers in usually rural, poor communities because it may be difficult to hold a wedding home, and therefore you'll use the community center to do that. You may have some training program, and the most common space to do it in, public space, is of course that community center. But people in Trin City ain't going to use that. There's no need for that because the home alone could accommodate anything that they wish to, far less to go there for some kind of community meeting. But let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox Smith, and your co-host, COP.
Yes, man. Pleasant good night to you.
Right away. Pleasant good night.
Yes.
Lennox Smith.
Hey.
Henry Rowley was saying something about he and Siotong visa get revoked.
He and Siotong what?
The visa get revoked from the US.
No. He was suggesting that, but he was really trying to catch fly, not with honey. Catch fly with something else. But go ahead.
Okay, nice. But watch now. You see the police posts and them are playing all over the place right now. They think Bishop that was complaining about some gas line passing where they
Yeah.
want to put the police post.
Yeah, that is the Tagarigua grounds, the Tagarigua recreation grounds. The claim was by the PNM led Tonopuna Regional Corporation, and the chairman spearheaded that argument that if they were not consulted, they are prepared to issue a stop order to prevent work from happening. And part of the argument was that the structure that is being constructed for that post, below it there is a gas line. Of course, the National Gas Company through Ramdeen made a statement saying that that is a decommissioned line, meaning that it is non-functional. So that argument was thrown out. But of course, they still felt that they ought to have been consulted, etc., etc. I want to know if you're passing a main road through the corporation of Tonopuna, if of course the Ministry of Works had to ask them for permission to pass it through, or to repave it, or to repair it. I want to know. But go ahead, my friend. So that is where we are.
But Lennox,
Yeah.
when I heard that story, right?
Yeah.
We have down on the beach there where the PNM give a certain billionaire the organization to develop the beach, right?
Yes.
And he built a structure down the way have a LNG 56-inch line run on a place that he built on top of it, an active line, you know. It had a yellow pillar, everything telling it have a gas line run there, you know. And this man was allowed to put a structure on top of that, you know.
Well, you see.
So how come the PNM wasn't saying anything about that in point 14? They allowed a man to build that on top of that active line, that is Atlantic LNG line that running there.
Well, it is clear that the person is a PNM activist supporter, or a person who they consider, and the PNM was in government. But the PNM is not in government. That is central government in this particular case. But they believe that they control the regional corporation, and so what I consider to be the storm in a teacup, a fake conflict arise, and they probably believing that they will beat the chest, and the public will see them as being strong. Well, the public has seen them as fools. Go ahead, my friend.
But let me say this before I go, Lennox Smith.
Yeah.
You remember about 2-3 years ago, I called on the program and I tell you that when the time comes that the Prime Minister, without she was opposition, if she had to get the crime situation under control or something of the fact like that,
Yes.
she had to get outside help. Remember I was calling her and telling her that?
Yes.
She had to get outside help.
Yes.
And you see how I playing off now?
Yes, and remember, we always were saying that when there was skepticism, that we concluded that they were doing things so blatant. Talking about PNM, Rowley, Seotiong, and the whole gabang. They were doing things so blatantly that we said for the first time it will be expeditious hauling to the courts, and or police putting their hands on them, blue lights and silver bracelet. And of course, just about a year, and that has started to happen. It never happened so before in Trinidad and Tobago. Go ahead. Yeah.
But you are not even go so far and say a rookie police are not can even bring blue lights and silver bracelet on them.
When we were having those conversations, I'm glad that I am able to jerk your memory to realize that it was too blatant. You cannot have 5 and counting 100 of recusal in your cabinet, and nobody will be held accountable, whether then or subsequently, for that because that is blatant corruption, that is blatant misbehavior in public office, and we could go on and on with respect to their conduct over that period of 9 years, suffering 9 years. But go ahead, my friend, if you have anything else.
Right, Lennox.
Okay,
so I just want to take my leave now, and I will be listening in the pavilion. Nocturnal listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, man. Yes, a young man, of course, that has grown with the corridor transformation and other programs that we are attached to. But let's go to the line. We always give way to the callers. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Lennox, and to your
Yes.
co-host, Yopi, and all the listeners. They go Martin inside.
Yes, man. Go
Some
ahead.
quick points.
Yeah.
Penniless, scentless opposition leader. She opened the town hall in Arima yesterday,
Uh-huh.
which was 5 years late and 600% overruns, you know.
Oh, my
It's
goodness.
supposed it's supposed to, of course, 1.5, 1.6 million, that is what Cabinet approved, for the refurbishment of that town hall.
All right.
And it ended up 6 million and counting. And she
Yeah.
refused, and a lot of the councillors refused to tell us who was the contractor.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, and she was fidgeting when she was saying she acknowledged that it was cost overrun and it was delayed. PNM can't bill anything. The other thing is, when they served the Balize house and Sanjeev Guru got it,
Yeah.
why didn't they ever burn it? I mean to say that is the modus operandi. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
They set a grand charge.
Yeah.
I mean,
Claiming, and somehow they believe that claiming innocence. You don't claim innocence. You have to prove that you are innocent, not claim. Talk cheap. It is evidence. Show the blasted books on them where you got the money from. Go ahead, my friend.
Today I call on a police program.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you know the newspaper, they give out CBU awards, right?
Yes.
Caribbean Broadcasting Union Award. TTT got some, and I want to pick them up. The
Yes.
Express
Yeah,
get
they
some.
did. Yeah, they did. Yes.
And you know the Guardian get one, the R&R Award.
Okay. What's that award about?
Reputation by R&R.
Okay.
On truthfulness. They get that. Everything is a lie. You understand? They don't tell us anything that is truthful.
But if there is any morsel of it, is always a mixture. So, but a preponderance to deflecting what the facts are. But we know.
I mean to say this thing about the medical thing is blatant lie. Even
when the
lawyers
police
and
said
attorneys-
that, we have the evidence, application was made and visits were made. But the article said, when I read it, Weiss, of course, Alwari was saying that she was denied medical service or attention, and of course she has lost weight, 29 pounds, and she is very, very, should I say, psychologically strained. That is my interpretation. But what was significant for me is that she saw 11 lawyers, and I want to know why he would put in she saw 11 lawyers. And
because
tell me, let me see if you have the same, you take the same position as her.
No, she's losing weight. As I tell you like yesterday, 28 pounds, 2
Yes.
stones, she lost it.
Yeah.
You understand? I mean, facetious. But the other point I want to raise.
Go ahead.
They want to, how shall I say, put pressure on our police commissioner. You understand? Today on a talk to program, I directed a question to the 2nd Division of Vice President of the Police Service, ISP. I say, look, in 2010, and you wearing the cap of the TTPS, Welfare Association and Police Service. I say, then in 2010, it had a sergeant who is now an ACP, came on national media and said he has lost confidence in Wayne Gibbs. I said the man was in office only about 3 or 4 months, and that was the pressure that the police service was putting on him.
Yeah.
You understand? So I asked him direct. I say, as you are part of that organization here, do you all have confidence in our commissioner? I say, because most of our citizens have the fullest confidence, and we're in a state of anxiety now. The fact that man fly out because there was sensitive information he had, about the SSA and the special branch. I say, I want to know where you all stand. You know, he come and tell me, because he didn't expect that question. He said, everybody in the second division have 100% confidence in the current police service commissioner. Tell him, okay, thank you.
Fair enough. Hi, people. Well, people, of course, just to follow up on what the caller just said, of course, the police commissioner did have an emergency and went abroad. But of course, we got just a insight as to why. He said that the SSA gave him certain information, and therefore he had to go on an emergency to, should I say, exercise abroad. So I think we can build into that. That it is something sufficiently significant to attract that and to get an approval to get out there. Even though, of course, the Chu Gonzalez, the chairman of the PNM, he raised it, of course, to suggest that things were not going as well as one would have liked as a citizen. He tried to suggest that there's some sickness involved, some other matter, maybe he's not performing well, etc., etc. But it turns out that since he says SSA, it means therefore it is something of a national security nature, and therefore we wait with bated breath the truth and the additional information that is associated with the cause for him to be out of the country suddenly. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox,
Yes,
COP,
man. Yes.
and the family, and all the listeners and well-wishers. Subscribe, share the love, and like the love. Uncle Lennox once again talking about the zombie from Lekoto. But Uncle Lennox, I find Penny and she, Dirty Dozzle, really want to know everything what's going on in the country when the UNC doing it. So I will try to use some of your airtime to ask them something at what I want to know as a taxpayer. Well, I get a forum to bring some room to ask the question. So right now I'm under the influence of hurt and pain. Penny, any of your family have any gun charge? Or was before the court for firearm?
No.
Without a license to drive?
No. Go ahead. Are you there?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So, because the other I hear, right, that a minister donate a high power rifle for the TPS that was arming them. So I want to know if what going on. Because I just ask a question because I want to know and all too. Because all I want to know where the police commissioner gone. All I want to know what the radar is for in Tobago. All I want to know what the Zozo bill is for. All I want to know why it is everything for Prime Minister. All I see she. All I want to know where she did, what she said, why she said it. She want to know what is the deal with Exxon. All I want to know. But all I had a set on disclosure. But I said all I asked the question, and all I want answer. So I'll be because Choti, you claiming all this gas deal. So you claiming now that you know well that Exxon supposed to go in the deep water, which they put on some bid, right? And they say we get it feasible. Why it is now? Wasn't in your time in 2015 and coming up the road because you was so much everything. Why it is you didn't get that gas deal going? But I want to ask you, everything was the dragon. How would it take 10 years and still we fight it up to finalize that deal? And you was affiliated with Delcy, and you know Delcy, and he could have gone with Delcy anytime at Modoro. So why it is now you talking about LNG, right? That only upgraded. It didn't have gas, right? We didn't get any gas. You tell me till 2028. Why upgrade it from now 2 years to leave it dormant again? So you see the lie, boy? Stop lying, but I asked you the question. But the nice thing about it, the trend are showing that all they're trying to twist everything. Dial Singh, if you listen to this program and anybody don't see Dial Singh, Terence Dial Singh, the Delia, right? Who the spry, and he know the national anthem, right? Tell him, Mr. Jagdev Singh, the House Speaker, in the inquiry to the pharmaceutical inquiry on the spending, is looking for him to ask him some question and all too. So he said, what question we ask him tonight? So all you tell him to go and answer a question. Camille, when all the talking now, right? And I want to find out, you want SRP and all of the, everything at the UNC. Rajiv wouldn't know the constitution, that's how we obstructing the people under the constitution. And all you know the constitution say that if you thief the public purse or misbehavior in public office, it has consequences. So it's only a human rights lawyer or less. Or he was not a true constitution lawyer. Come now, or let's stop playing smart with foolishness. All you know if, who, and when, just imagine $3.4 billion private partnership to do the work for the people, to benefit. It's how people stop that contract, say it misappropriate, but I'm still waiting on an answer from the procurement officer to know that if that contractor qualified to bid, because I've seen when mainstream media and others combine it up, that they're not, that contractor built some houses for a good bit of money, almost twice the price, and it's falling down. I want my money back, because here what's going on. It have a set of children in Lavantil for the last 10 years. They're fighting and they're crying out for help. And all year, that contractor fighting out to stop $3.4 billion in private circulation of the economy to start the economy. And all he's stopping to say that he wants to bid to do what? For the Toronto building. And I want to find out who was the man who get the bunkering license when all it was this shorty to bunker this set of fuel. Who had the license? But I only hope all I can answer we question. Because right now, right, is a straight court case. Because Uncle Lennox know when he come and he spent $20, he know that he spent $20. How it is? Always accountant and financial, always know how to keep money track, and follow the money. And always know all the lost and receipt, right? Nah, boy, but here what's going on. Continue playing smart with foolishness, and we'll see how the court unfold. So, Uncle Lennox, the topic tonight is what you're talking about. Me, you're talking about the PNM and Valizier House and how they thief out all this money, because the word they can use now is plainly thieving. Because all of them know everything under the UNC. Who thief and where thief. Right? But now, when we ask them if they know where the money go and who spend it and how to spend it, and if they get approval to spend it, they got to answer. They say check the permanent secretaries and them. So anyway, and we are going by like water, and Mark look what? Where they blow up with all our money, and all our gas deals. Don't be asking a lot, but I want to know why I only take $10 million from NGC and build a radiation center in Point-a-Pierre down by COPD on top the hill for Mark Lukman to go and get special treatment, just like Malcolm Jones. And the citizens who need cancer treatment when they go down Cocoa they see trouble. So, Uncle Lennox, have a pleasant good night.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Thank you very much, of course, for that insertion. But of course, all what you would have said, and of course, those of you who may not, and for the benefit of those of you who may not be able to follow because of the complexity and the variety of issues that he would have raised, I want to say first and foremost, of course, it is not far-fetched to say that every one of them, whether it be overruns, whether it be giving contractors a favorable because they are their favorite, conditionalities and overpricing, etc. Just focus back on Balize Homes. Just, it is not far-fetched to say that all of that money was, of course, designed to go to Balize Homes construction. Right, of course, he mentioned Chest Trail, where, of course, it is now, well, it's not now, but we knew that before, that many of the houses that were constructed collapsed. And then, of course, we saw recently where there was structural failure. There's steel supposed to go, only concrete, pure concrete. So it was a total disaster waiting to happen. So that's as far as Chest Trail is concerned. Of course, he talked about this radiation center that was constructed. I suppose what you can also include in that is that solar energy panel construction that was, of course, constructed as a tremendous plan. I think it's in using St. Martin, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, what is being told to us by the experts is that there was something of a kind of battery that was supposed to attach to that in order to save or to store the electricity that will come from those solar panel, extracting, of course, energy from the sun. Well, they say that there was none of that. So it was just a propaganda exercise, as we would have seen with the fake opening of the central block in Port of Spain. We also see the fake opening of the A&I Robinson Airport in Tobago. So that has been the PNM, and I could only conclude that that confirmed that the PNM has morphed into a criminal enterprise. Go ahead, my friend.
Lennox Smith.
I didn't realize you're live on the radio program.
It's amazing. It's amazing to know that.
I didn't realize you're live.
Even in that construction in HGC, HGC engineers and them was approving those work.
Yeah, boy.
Buildings without foundation. Them just could not build that just one thing. HGC engineers was approving them work on them.
But I'll tell you this, it is understandable. You see, the PNM could not have functioned in its criminalistic agenda if it couldn't recruit willing participants. And of course, the incentives would have been large sums of money, unmerited. It might be a fellow who just come out of John D, for example, if there's still John D, or some should I say, nebulous certificate, or they make up one frame and say he's an engineer, and he goes there. As I've always said, that I would not put it beyond the PNM that they will take up, of course, a carpenter and put him in a hospital, in a hospital room to perform, of course, a heart surgery. I wouldn't be surprised, because that is the level of mediocrity that they promoted. Go ahead, because I wanted
they also
make another point.
For the explain your wealth. They want the police to investigate the UNC to explain their wealth.
Yes.
Well, let me tell them something. All they have to do is have evidence reported to the police. Because the evidence that if somebody has also reported her evidence and reported to the police for the police to do that investigation.
Yes.
So that all you have to do, Marvin, is to find evidence and carry it to the police too. Well, and they will allow investigation launch. But the pay spent $100 and something million. Why is that law was in place? Keith Rowley spent $100 and something million. They give the past commissioner of police, Gary, $45 million to investigate the UNC, and they could not find nothing. No, they want to find evidence, and the police will investigate, just as how they find evidence on Balize House. Just as how they find evidence on Balize House. Now the police investigating.
Yes, and of course, with respect to Gary Griffith's experience, I mean, if you analyze what he would have been saying with that 45 million, is that they actually were giving him money in order to concoct, to make up, to manufacture evidence against
to engage in misconduct in public office,
exactly,
just like email gate.
So
just like email gate and all them things.
yes, right. So
And
it
this
really-
administration have to hold them accountable for that.
That's right. In fact, it is incumbent on them to do so because the population demands that.
Yes,
suffered
hold them accountable.
That's right. The population. You have
You
a
can't
contract
bring
with the
lies
population.
and deceit
Yeah.
and mislead people. Accuse past prime minister want to kill journalists and all these kind of things. And you all they want to all they tell us all they fit in office with all those lies and deceit and wickedness and vindictiveness and callousness and ungratefulness, and all they want to be in office. This administration had to hold them accountable. Yeah. Leaders don't behave in that way.
Yeah. Serious people, and you see, and the hypocrisy is so, what I consider to be, should I say, gigantic. The hypocrisy, because very, very, very frequently, when we will talk about integrity in public life, he
And
even
they should also be arrested.
Yeah, he
They
even
should be arrested and the PDO all now.
Yeah, he even accused his former boss Manning that not a person get a job from his constituency, from Digomatin, Lavatil, etc. Love Lavatil, love the people, because he just wanted to be where Manning was when he was exposing the PNM's iniquities as far as the construction of
all over the
SIPA
country.
and SAPA and so on. Yes.
And not one of them is black people, only Chinese people walking.
Yes.
And when he reach in office, he fire all the black people and bring Chinese people.
Yeah. Even on the farm.
Yeah, all Venezuela, he bring all the Venezuelan and send them everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 7,000 black people going home from Petrotrader.
Yes, so let us not get away from the fact that the PNM has metamorphosized, have grown into, have evolved into a criminal enterprise. And what they did, they put a network together. So it is not surprising that elements from within the HGC that has the responsibility to protect not just the public's interests in the proper construction of those buildings, but it could have been easily compromised because they are beholding more to the political directorate, the PNM, because the PNM pulled them in even though they may not be suitably qualified. That's what has happened. And as I say, when we are talking tonight, always make reference to whatever the excesses may be that would have gone to Balize House. Balize House. Let us not waste time. And tonight, of course, we also want, just as the ground report, we want to get your experience as well as to how you were victimized. Because you see, it's important because here it is, Gonzalez, as the chairman of the party, keeps saying that the UNC, out of some ritual, they're trying to persecute them. They're trying to, out of revenge. And I like the word that he uses. He uses two words. Take note of them. If a person uses a word like revenge, it means, therefore, that you did something to somebody before. That's the only way you could take revenge. Not so. You could only take revenge on someone if you did them, if they perceive that you did them something before. Understand that. He ain't saying that they were being victimized. He ain't saying that, He's saying revenge, words to that effect. So inadvertently, he has been compelled to say that because of conscience. Because as we say, I think somebody said it last night, who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad. And therefore repentance with the choice of words to say that if you were saying that the UNC is taking revenge, it means that you did them something. The appropriate word would have been, if it was me, eyewitness say when I am being victimized. The UNC is being vindictive. But to say that they want to take revenge, it means that you did them something or you did something. Right? But let me tell you something. It's the people want the revenge. It's the people want to exact their pound of flesh. And this ain't no Shylock scenario. This ain't no Shylock scenario in the play of Shakespeare's play. No, where you can't take the pound of flesh without spilling blood. Well, we spilling blood, we taking the flesh and everything. This contract suggested that you're taking blood at all, so there's no technicality to not cutting or severing flesh. That being as it may, let me continue, of course, with the course of action that I decided to go on tonight. You see, when we were talking this morning on the ground report, I made it very clear that there is more in common between the Africans and the Indians than with any other grouping in the society. And it so happens that these are the two largest groups in the society. But, however, the PNM's approach is to exploit the African community, make them believe somehow that somebody else is victimizing them, somebody else is taking from them that which they are entitled to. I will come to that a little later. But let us get to that commonality. You see, what is the measurement? The measurement is very simple. If you go on Frederick Street right now, or you go on Brian Lara, you will see Indians and Africans lying down on the pavement as part of the displaced group in this society. I ain't seen no other race or ethnic group. To me, that is the commonality.
The people that make homeless.
That's right. That is the commonality. And as we go up the socio-economic ladder or chain, as far as the Indians are concerned, from among them, you begin to see the disparities. So you have filthy poor Indians and filthy rich Indians. But if you take the same measurement as far as the Africans are concerned, you'll see filthy poor Africans, yes, but they will not be able to reach the level as the filthy rich Indians. The disparity among them is smaller, if you want to call it, is narrower, whereas, of course, in the case of the Indians, it is, of course, wider. And I'm making that point or making that case simply to say that is the group that the PNM fears the most, the Indian community, because they are capable of competing with the 1%ers. Whether it be Syrians, whether it be Africans or the elitist Africans that Rowley and them made unmeritoriously filthy rich, because they are part of the 1% as well, that the Indians could compete. And therefore, once that is established, then they have a duty and responsibility as far as the PNM is concerned, as we have seen unfolding on a daily basis, to try to malign the Indians, even though they claim to be a national party, all creed, race, and ethnicity in this cauldron, this racial pot of humanity. But we also see the flaw in that as far as the PNM is concerned, because the Indians do not, or are not at the forefront when campaign come. It's only mainly Africans. Check it out. The frontline spokespersons, Africans. But when they get into office, the major political office or ministries go to the Indians, if the Indians among them. And I've always said to the Indians that gravitate to the PNM that they are betrayers of their own, one, and two, there is reciprocal exploitation, because these are persons who will not be able to make headway in the UNC. So they settle inside of the PNM, and the PNM knows that if it has to keep them, they will have to, of course, make certain that they give them the kind of status, but only when they're in government. When they are fighting to get government is the African community. And then at the end of the day, after all of that is said and done, after all that effort, they abandon the African community and relegate us to what? To the point of being a voter bank, full stop. And I could say that without fear of contradiction. And let me show you how dangerous the PNM has been. They tell the African community, listen, you can't be no millionaire because you can't do business. So, between Mova Junction and Port of Spain, even though it is a major thoroughfare, and therefore the likelihood that business could strive there, let us assume that the banditry and so on didn't exist. Let's assume that. Let's assume that. Because the banditry exists in Bamboo. They can't complain about bandits there. But the thing about it is, even though the Bamboo, I'm using that as the example to show how exploitative the PNM is. Here it is, you have a situation where for decades, the Eastern Main Road exists between Mova Junction and Port of Spain, dominated by the African community, but hardly any one of them could do business there or have done business to become millionaires. The Bamboo is a later community, and today is only, well, one could safely say the makings of multi-millionaires go on in the Bamboo as a late community, but dominated by whom? By Indians. My case about the fact that they are afraid of the Indians, and when they get into office, they exploit and render the Africans to only accept the fact that they can only be the hewer of wood and the drawer of waters. That's all. But stay there in numbers to be critical enough to get them into office. And then, of course, they give land. They give special arrangements, so whether it be through the banks or government or other policies and programs, including themselves. We have a situation where, because they know that only a certain group of persons focus on renting buildings for government purposes, what they did, they themselves wanted to get into that kind of business renting, but they concoct a different approach. They bring a measure in the parliament saying for 25 years, anybody who investing in high-rise apartment family buildings, high-rise apartment family buildings. So not Young, the former minister of finance, he went and built one in Woodbrook. Rowley built one in Tobago. And for 25 years, no tax. No tax. No tax. But the average African fella can't do that, can't take advantage of that. However, the members of the 1%ers could have done it. We saw where in Tobago, Warner built one as well. And he was handsomely rewarded with contracts both in Tobago and in Trinidad. That's the point I am making. And let me tell the African community something further. In order to reinforce the idea that we are no damn good, but good enough to keep the PNM in government orchestrated by the leadership of the PNM. When they realize that the idea, the propaganda, that the Indians faking their degrees, remember that? And that because they have money, they're paying the university lecturers and so on to get their degrees. So those study to study. You know what I say? They say because you can't compete because you don't have the money to pay any university lecturer to give you fake marks to pass your degree, to get your degree. Told us that. Understand that. Rowley told us that. And guess what? Because whilst Rowley was saying that, we were saying, but how the hell is that possible? When you look at the first 100 names in C, for example, results, is Ramnarain, is Mirage, and you go up the road, and then you're hearing maybe some John and some James afterwards. How the hell Rowley could be telling us and the PNM telling us that these people faking? So if they're doing so well at that level, a local government, a local national exam where the Ministry of Education supervise all entirely, I think some element of it goes abroad, maybe to CXC. But the fact is that that is what is happening. So you don't expect them same group, to do well at university. You don't expect them to go into university legitimately. That is what they sold us. That is what they told our African brothers and sisters. So there is no need for you to study. Listen, that is a breakdown. Orchestrated. I'm talking mentally. Orchestrated by the PNM and their propaganda for you to keep them in office at all times and to hate people who is undeserved of being hated. That is why I talk about the commonality at that level. And if you go to Port of Spain right now on the pavement, you will see Indians and Africans alone sleeping. Displaced people. Understand that. They told us that.
PNM.
They told us that. Don't study Africans, they no need because you can't compete with them people. They have money and the family going to chip up, and then of course they will pay for the degree and so on. But it is the Indians that are what? That are topping the C exam, which is the rudimentary, the beginning, the embryonic exam. So you're telling me that they won't do well at C and therefore to get into to university wouldn't be a breeze because they are the top in Trinidad and Tobago. But let me get further just in case the Africans saying, well, listen, somehow now Smith making sense. Well, let me tell you this. Apart from what I've just said with respect to the outcome of the C exam, in the 60s and the 70s, the best doctor, the best lawyer was an African. Let's not waste time with that. Aeneas Wills, of course, Guerra, and of course even a former Chief Justice, Clinton Bernard, born right not too far from here. Not too far from here. Well, the best schools would have been CIC, Fatima, QRC, Donkmena, Ole Donkme. And today, in terms of excellence, academically, we are looking at here, I ain't talking about vocational yet. Academically, these were the schools that were producing the best students, and that is why the best doctor, the best lawyer, the best pilot, etc., at one time in the 60s and 70s would have been an African. Today, check the schools that are topping the list of excellence. Has shifted, of course, to Central and South. Shifted to Central and South. Fatima, QRC, and CIC can't compete with them. Yes, there is some residual element of that, but the fact is that when they come in to president's medals, when they come in, of course, to open scholarships, schools in Central and South, the PNM conditioned us to believe that because these people could buy their way through, natural competition cannot take place as they continue, of course, to excel. And the PNM continue to tell us, don't bother with academic pursuits. That is what you did. And let me say, let me go further. In terms of scholarships, it was the Equal Opportunities Commission that stopped that shit. Because they would have taken a bundle of money and put it in the Ministry of Community Development and say that they're there to provide bursaries for scholarship purposes. And then populated that system with PNM activists, dunce, not so dunce in between, and send them abroad and they scrape through and get a degree. And then they come back and they have work inside of any or all of the ministries of government. The point I am making here, people, is that the PNM has saddled Trinidad and Tobago, whether we like it or not, with a bunch of mediocrity, a bunch of mediocres. And any such situation in any country is not sustainable, and it could not have lasted. The most recent scholarship agenda of the PNM was that 400 open scholarships, anybody competing, everybody competing, and the person who come up to the top, they get these scholarships. What the PNM did, they reduced it by half. No, not half. I think they take 300 out of it. It was 400. And put it in the same ministry to promote their mediocrity and suggest that somehow people connected to the PNM are the brightest in Trinidad and Tobago. And as a result, we have chaos and dysfunctionality in every blasted ministry in this country because of the conduct of the PNM. So let us not waste time with that. So African community, the lesson for this is this. Get up and get. Shake up. At one time, the entire community was always behind the brightest fella in the community. I remember that. And they will focus on him or her to do well. Today, when I hear them speak, it irks me. Hey boy, yeah boy, why me boy? Yeah boy, they can't string a sentence together from here where I am on George Street right up to Malik. Then stringing a sentence, talking as though they come from a land or a place that one may consider to be Neanderthals. Yeah, Neanderthals, cavemen and cavewomen. That's how they're speaking. That is how they're speaking, people. So I am not going to waste time and to soak and to empathize or sympathize with the PNM. No, they should be in the dustbin, as I've said before. And I got the opportunity now because the people are waking up. Not yet in Laventille, not yet in the Laventilles. At one time, of course, the Diego Martins did. Where I am here in Port-au-Prince South, they did, because they cut the tail here and there in 1986. Well, we must have a renaissance. We must have a renewal. We must have a revisiting. Next election, local. Next election, national. We have to get up and get, because that is what is our future if we only allow this group of vipers, and some say vampires, to suck and to suck like typical parasites and not give back to the community in a manner that the entire community can emerge from the morass and the tragedy that is, of course, these communities in contemporary time. Sorry about that, COP, but I thought I had to get that off my chest. Go ahead, my friend.
Lennox, the black community had the same, they did not have the same opportunity that every other community had in Trinidad and Tobago. The black community was denied the opportunities by the People's National Movement. When I hear Andy Williams 26 years ago, I listened to Andy Williams say, why is the PNM was breaking down black people squatted house in Bagatelle, them was regularizing East Indian in Shogunas.
And the bamboo.
And the bamboo is not a UNC creation where it can, the PNM what assists bamboo to develop and so. And let me tell you something, I like to talk Franco Mentano, listen. You see 90% of the Hindu temples we have in this country is the PNM help fund to build all those Hindu temples. It have some of them build it in private by themselves. Hindu government schools, the PNM fund 90% and assist all to help build those schools and them. Denominational schools, the PNM assist. The only people them that PNM never assist is the black communities and them in Trinidad and Tobago. And I watch well, from 1956 to now, the black elders and them, they recognize that yet, you know.
That is so amazing. It's so mind-boggling. How the hell?
That's why they can't use a sentence.
Go ahead, my friend. Sorry.
That is why they can't make a proper sentence. Because the fit, just on, my mother is a PNM, my father is a PNM, they live to be a PNM. They bring the generation from all over the Caribbean, and they live to be the PNM is worse than the Jim Jones organization. Worse, 10 times worse for what they do to black people, suffer them while they're alive. Jim Jones didn't suffer nobody. The PNM suffer people while for years, keep them in tranquility, keep them in a dependent zone when they could give them opportunity just as everybody else they give opportunity. Penal David, Woodland, and Barrackpore wasn't developed under the UNC, you know. Those places that them is the PNM was in power. Shogunas didn't develop by the UNC, you know. PNM was in power for 35 years straight. Today when we set out so much at Indian doctors that have and so much at Indian lawyers that have, is the PNM was in office. When all them knowledgeable lawyers today, 70-something years, UNC wasn't in office, you know. All the law schools and then the opportunity for them to go all the way and get scholarship and things to study law and things. The UNC wasn't in office, you know. The PNM was in office. It's just that the blacks did not get the opportunity for those things. The mistake the black people make in this country with the PNM. You see that 1970 Black Revolution? That's the mistake. The PNM find they shouldn't have that. They shouldn't stand up against the white supreme masters and them and they victimize them because of that. Up to today, they're getting victimized because of that. Lennox.
Well, you have raised further and deepened, of course, the argument against the PNM in terms of their devilish agenda to subdue and undermine the African community. But I'll go there after this call. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night to Mr. Smith and CUP.
Night, my friend.
I'm my boy Joshua. Mr. Smith, I know all of firing on all cylinders, but I want to tell CUP one thing before I start anything. The black people, especially the Shouter Baptists, I'm going to tell you that it had a leader in the Shouter Baptist say that when Kamala gave things to Barbara Brook, that we will take from them all what we could get, but all you know where our heart is. Right? So it's not because that they don't recognize what the PNM did, because they were accepting, according to his statement, formed the UNC, but they had still with the PNM. So they know what they are about. And Barbara Brooke come out and talk against that. And she says she will make it with Kamala no matter what, because Kamala giving the Shelter Baptists what they want. So it's something that the black leaders in this place, what they call Trinidad and Tobago, fully recognize what the PNM doing to them. But like they say, stick brick in the heads. They don't want to move away from this black man mentality, so that they will take anything from the black man, but they wouldn't take it from the other side. You see? And you must always remember that
Not that they don't want to move away, they're a colonial trance. It's a colonial trance there.
2015, that when they see they were going to lose the Tobago House of Assembly election, when Hilton Sandy come out and say to stop the Calcutta ship from coming to Tobago, when they was giving them a lot of things, even land deed and things in Tobago, they make them believe that the UNC coming to take with the land and all kind of thing in Tobago, right? So don't believe that the black people and know what the PNM doing to them. They're fully aware of it, but they decide to fully ignore it and let the black man hurt them. It come like when you, long time they used to say, when you get bite by your own bedbug, it more worse. Remember they used to say that? So these black leaders push the black community to support the PNM in that. Because you remember Hilton Sandy never even entered the Tobago House of Assembly, you know. He get a stroke. And even his wife put him out of the house from the court, when the court go against him. That was a karma from God, right? And they used that racial segregation on all the election after that they want to join with the UNC. Even in the last election, Rowley said that Farley joining with the UNC is a threat to democracy in Trinidad and Tobago. They still uses that, but the people say, we know what's going on here, and they turn against them. But I don't know what's wrong with the black people in Trinidad that is seen every day, especially Lavantia. I had to go there where Mr. Lennox is number one. And Mr. Lennox fighting tooth and nail for them, not now. And according to Mr. William Monroe say, like the people in Lavantia like to suffer. He said that on a thing that I get on my phone. He said that. So why the people in Lavantia still keeping with the PNM? Because they believe they're more black than me, as a black man too, how I could move, how fiery Andy could move. These days, Mr. Andy was afraid to even call Pussy bad these days. So here, man, we black people have to understand this life. It's not only for ourselves, it's for our children, for our grandchildren, and down the road. Because this life will end with only we. This is our life continuing. And we must never be afraid to take no risk in this life. Because you might get up this morning and go down the road, and you mightn't be able to make it back in the evening. Because you know why? You're dead. So it does happen. So we have to be, don't frighten to take somebody else who of a different race or color or skin color, whatever, maybe for the betterment of your nation. We need people to understand Trinidad and Tobago don't belong to the PNM. Trinidad belongs to all of us because all of us live here. And forget who is who. We want good government. We want good people who can run the economy. And not by if you're good looking or you're bad looking. It's how you're handling the economy is the most important thing. And today, I could tell you that the PNM gone mad. Gonzalo and them gone crazy. They can't handle outer power because they always believe the PNM is supposed to be in power. And today, the outer power, they're like a fish out of water. Everything they interfere with, them get better than salt. They everything. Even if the commissioner had to go away, they had to know. And even though you living in a home, if the father running the home and he not there is the wife, and if the wife and the father not home is the biggest child, you have things even in your own house. But today, they want to know about commissioner of police, but don't want to know when Rowley take the miracles. Marvin Gonzalez and them all will stay in the doldrum until all is dead, brother. We will never put back Ole because Ole too wicked. I got Mr. Smith. Thank you.
Thank you very much. COP, you have any comment before I continue? COP, you have any comment before I continue? All right, it appears that he didn't hear me, boy.
Yeah.
You have any comment before I continue?
The caller right. The caller right. Let me say this, Black people don't deny the children an opportunity in life. Black people, they seek the interest of the children and them. Black people is family-oriented people. Black people love their community. Black people, they support each other. Black people don't neglect the community. Black people under PNM, which I don't classify as black. I classify them as PNM supporters. But black people don't have the community the way the PNM have black people community. Black people, they support each other. How black people in Tobago don't think as how black people in Trinidad. How black people in Grenada don't think as how black people is thinking in Trinidad. How black people in Barbados and St. Lucia and Grenada and St. Vincent don't think like Trinidadians. Black people in other Caribbean countries seek the interest of the black community and help develop the black community. It's only in Trinidad and Tobago. Black people, they say, we spare them until they're dead, and if PNM give them water for 10 years, they contented with that. If PNM get a train on them, URP, CPEP, and forestry work for 10 years, because I running for 10 years now, CPEP running 32 years now, 30-something years now, and it's black people only in the community. And they contented that they are not black people. They are PNM supporters. Some of the most callous and deceitful black color I have in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I don't tell me to say sorry for saying that, because that is what I witness. I witness those things taking place in my lifespan growing up in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Lennox Smith, you could go the four corners of Trinidad and Tobago, and any electoral district you see that the PNM control from 1956 is most of the black community. And what you see, pain, pressure, depression and poverty, lack of opportunity. And the elders of them watch that and they say we spare them until we dead. And if we turn on them saying there's a UNC, we go put them out of the blasted house. Waste us
I hear you, my friend. I hear you, man. Yeah. Let's pause for a while and let's take in the caller. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night to you, Lennox, and good night, COP.
Yes,
good
man.
night to all your viewers and listeners. Lennox, I tuned in and I listening to your last caller, right?
Yes.
And, he was good with what he's saying, but, he kind of confusing me and a lot of others with saying about the black people and the black people, Indian people is not white. We all of different complexion. And if he do some research, he go realize that when we was classed as black people during slavery, it was so that we could continue to be at the low or the bottom of the barrel for the rest of eternity if we continue classing ourselves in that bracket. You understand? Because there's no such thing as that. Before slavery, it wasn't Africans. We didn't used to call ourselves nothing black and white and blue and all this sharpness. But what I'm called for, right? He said, you don't know why the people of Laventille always vote PNM and Israel. I want to tell a lot of people who don't understand. People think religion is about goodness. Religion is good and bad. It's because of the division in religion have our people hating each other. Because they divide us through different religion, have us fighting. because they divide us in religion. It's not because they don't want that Indian leader to lead them. It's because they think that the Indian leader might be a Hindu. You understand? And because she's a Hindu, and I know Ms. Kamala Prasad says it's not because she claims to be, I see her in the church and stuff, but maybe, whether or not, religion is what's separating us and have us divided and have us fighting. I will continue to say, right? Because if everybody have to go on the mountain, and when we all together on that bus carrying on the mountain, that is the only time you will find the presence of the real God with us, the energy togetherness, because all are we in one place. But you see, when we reach on top of the hill and we start dividing in different congregation and different church and who gone there, we weak, we separated, we divided. And that's how these smart men, there's work their magics in politics in the PNM. In the PNM, in Laventille, is the same, I will use what he said, the same black people, as he called us, refer to us, is who come up, most of them from the NJAC, was from the East-West Corridor, was Africans fighting against the PNM. Don't forget that. Do not forget is the NJAC was telling us that the PNM is wicked and evil. And for those who don't know, go and listen to Maestro tune from 1973. How much years ago? That is over 40-something years. Maestro talk about Eric William and the PNM, 1973. That was right after the 1970 revolution.
Yeah.
Right. You must play this. Yes, you must play these things to these people to hear. So when you talk about Laventille people and you don't know, Laventille are the most church. Lennox Laventille are the most church in the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, Laventille and Moba. The most church. Back in the days, you couldn't go in a house in Laventille without Jesus on the wall and Eric William next to him. This is what destroys us. Because from that point in time, we listen from our grandparents to our parents, and we PNM and we read till we dead. It's very easy to understand what the PNM use. The PNM tell us that we have to suffer. The Bible tell we have to be poor. Money is root all evil. Suffer and God go take you in heaven. You have to death to see heaven. When the rich and them live in heaven on earth amongst us here, they brainwash you and they fool we so much. So don't always try to curse at people who don't know. When somebody don't know, you mustn't be upset because they don't know. What you have to do is try to teach them. Don't try to curse them and divide them because we need them. If everybody get to understand the power of Obia, that is something that the PNM love. If people get to understand the power of Obia, they will understand why the people of that Laventille that we call black is like that. And they will tell you there will be PNM till they're dead, and they will suffer and they're hungry and can't even bury the mother or the father who was a PNM. That's how we live in. You understand, Lennox and COP? So until we start telling them the right things, for to uplift them, to bring them across and form one united party, which is the United National Congress, to uplift Trinidad and Tobago and bring us out of the darkness of the evil. A prime minister who could stand up in front of people in the country and say he went Lekito and walk over on the old PNM partner who was there to fight him and kill him to take a party. And we support that. I just tell people that I different. The real power of God is not about no blood. No, when I hear them, they say the blood of Jesus, the blood of... It was not about blood. Anytime you talk about blood or you say blood, somebody, some sacrifice, it was never about that. Somebody dead is not no good thing. When people get shot in the road, in the street, and their blood running, it don't look good. But we here calling about the blood and the blood and not knowing. It's the only thing we have to do is come together, build together, for a better Trinidad and Tobago and stop studying black and white and blue because all of us is of a dark complexion. Trinidad is not much light complexion people who we just call white people. We not plenty other day. We is one people. different here. The here might be different. But if we only understand, if we stand together as one, we will have the greatest Caribbean country in the world, which we already had it before. But the PNM destroyed that. Because we had to bring it back. So stop fighting the people of Laventille who don't know the right thing and continue teaching them and letting them understand that before they was even born, is Obia have the parents so with Eric William and Jesus on the wall. Because of them pictures, they grew up to say that they will never vote and support the Indian because them voting for Maralachmi and this one and that one. It's division in religion, and we continue fighting. That is what mashing we up as a people. It's not no black and white and blue. That is what destroying us. Because when the PNM was in the pandemic, he get the church in over there where he could have taken that 6 million and build market school. He get the church in over, the church had rock $6 million. Why you think the PNM get the church had rock $6 million during the pandemic? It's to keep we as sheeps. You understand? That is what they do. That is the power, that is the only strength. And they know that our grandparents and they love religion, they love this and they love that. But Lennox and COP, have a good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friend. Oh boy, we have another call. We have another call.
Land the plane.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox and COP once again.
Yes,
yeah, and the audience, right? I wanted to know that when my esteemed, most honorable, this Kamala Prasad Bissessa SC, right, was in power, she tell them in the plannings in Port of Spain, I will give all your ownership of those apartments so all of them have status. And the PNM tell them, don't do that. Eh? So just to justify the point you make it, Uncle Lennox. Eh? And now the word is black. Black. Everything is black. But you see, as you say, I'll remind you and tell you two things quick. Jindal, when Jindal had come, who he was. And when the next one had come and take the Panman yard, where they're supposed to build a Pan City, to empower black people, is an Indian ticket. Who get them it? Have a pleasant good night, Uncle Lennox, and God bless you over the weekend. And God's willing, Monday, please God, and the ground report in the morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, the time is what? 9:45. I say we finish at 9:30. But of course, I need to get, if only for clarification, and if only to make an input into the previous caller's presentation, because I think it was scintillating, but I think we need to put things in context. When he started by indicating that when you say black, why use the term black? Well, I interpreted what the caller said when he said black to mean an African. Why? Because the context of the discussion is one where we recognize the African community. So whether you use the term black interchangeably, whether Africans or black, I think for the purposes of this discussion, black is understood. Because if he wanted to say something different, he would have said Indian. So I am clear in my mind that he meant Africans. But of course, he also went on to talk about the role of religion and the fragmentation as a consequence of that. But then, I don't want anybody to believe and to believe that there are people. Let me just make sure and get this. Let me get this. Let me get this call. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night, Mr. COP and Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
I must say good night to my friend Brooklyn. Welcome to a real program, real UNC program. What I love
good night to you, KFC. Good night to you, my friend.
Talking about black people, He vote PNM for donkey years, you know. He just get bright in 2024, you know. So I doesn't know whether will be crying on the parliament in Lavanti and them so, like Washington and them, seeing the neglect in Lavanti. When 2015, the vote for all the policies at the UNC. When UNC built a three-story school in Lavanti, they built a school in the Bitam, built a school, built a pavilion in the Bitam. Look, Curry Marcel say he's 30-something years, and he never see the MP come on the Bitam, the former MP we take his place, Dr. Jed Hines. So, Brooklyn, welcome home to the new program. Give me that support, and we'll give you that support. Don't go on that program and tell you type up. It's so long I got an airplay here. So give it that. Give it. Share the live. Share the live. Lennox are doing sometimes in here, but I locked on listening.
Yeah, you fix up. Continue. Yeah. So let me get to the crux of the matter. So you raised the question of religion, the divisive, or using it as a tool for division and fragmentation. Oh boy. All right, let's go to the line. We can't help that. Let's go to the line. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes. Good night to the honorable political leader.
Yes, good night.
Of loved.
Yes, man.
Yes, good night. You know, I want to say good night to all. We have to respect and recognize the members of Love the Rocket Lavantil Outreach for Vertical Enrichment. Good night to all the candidates, all the blessed members. We say, as an old political leader, Lennox could know that we tell you to stay strong and stand tall. I see, brother, Mr. Lennox, he shake his head. I want to say good night to my brother, there, Mr. COP. Mr. COP, last night I made a little contribution. And after the contribution, it was all right. But after I hear you say, like, I don't know if it was me I was talking to, that you say, if we have our personal issues, keep that home or something. I don't know if it was referring to me.
No, it wasn't. It was people who have a little chip on their shoulders.
Nah, that man said, good night to you, brother.
All right, okay, my brother, because I say I was
good night to you. I wasn't referring to you. I was speaking about. I was talking to my friend Brooklyn when he was bringing the live story. I said that keep your live story.
He even helped me draft.
But I was just being sarcastic and then. I have full 100 respect for you, brother.
This issue corrected also, you know, and it just continue going on. But
yes.
What happened? We have to deal with these issues because we know we have a good prime minister, a very nice, lovely lady who listens to the voice of the people, because all is not well at all. And she will listen to the people and make her ministers do what they have to do. If they can't do the job, she will put them aside, because we see in the first term that she did hold the cow by the horn, as it say, and control it. This is her government, right? She's the El Capi, the Tutti, the Capi, right? She have to fix things and make things work. If it have persons who sleeping on the job, she will read that 2.0 riot act on them and let them know what time it is, because it is now approaching half of the term, and goods and services have to deliver to the people, right? This is a very serious thing. Good night, Mr. KFC. Good night, Mr. Freeport also. He always, every time I tune in, he always listening. This is a very serious time. And it's not only for me. I want something for me, for Lennox, for Mr. COP, for KFC, for Mr. Freeport, and etc. We want things delivered across the board for each and every one. Right? Because when the second term, the Honorable Prime Minister said she always wanted 2 terms in office, and God bless her with the second term, right? After this term, she dies it, she will be going for retirement or whatsoever, right? We know that she means to run this country and build it, right? And we asking because we seen that good ministers like, I want to say good night to the Honorable Minister of Fruit Production, Mr. Ravi Ratiraman. See, he had talked today with a heap of activists, and that ministry is promptly working. It is working. He is trying to cut the food import bill, and we've seen since he came in, he take over from the former minister Avinash Singh and Mr. Hussain, and he prompt up the work, and the food. We seen the market stuffs are very nice. The price is nice. Look today, I buy a big pawpaw, right? And you're getting 4 and 5 pounds for $20, right? I can remember, and tomatoes and all them things cheap. Right now, he doing a very good in his ministry, and he was talking with these activists and them, and they're coming to deal with these nuisance people who just dumping animals all over the place, bouncing down animals, cruelty to animals now. So we ask him because we know that people is breaking the law, and this cannot go on. We have to go to Parliament and pass a bill, no jokey bill, pass a bill with hefty fines if you commit a crime and a heinous crime and breaking the law. These all over the years we have these colonial laws. These laws are too petty now. These fines are too petty. Because people drinking expensive whiskey and all kind of things, Trinidad still have plenty money, boy. It have people have 5 and 4 vehicles. Now these people who don't care about nobody, right? And pelting animals and doing all these kind of things, man, give them fines ranging from $20,000 to $30,000. You understand? And this is a very serious thing also. We asking for people, please, this is lives all they're talking about. Don't take no animals, the cats and dogs, and dump them all over the place. Today I was watching on Facebook a nice pompek. Somebody take the nice pompek and they go and they dump it in a lonely road. And people are asking for somebody to come and help that little dog. Come on, man. All you have a heart. There's God. There's a life. Right? God bring that in the face of the earth for a purpose. That is man's best friends. And also what I'm asking Lennox, because with the corridor, good night to the corridor of transformation, because all the members, and without this program, we doesn't see, plenty people listening to the corridor of transformation. And what is happening since these two co-pilots here, the honorable political leader of Love the Rocket and Dr. COP, the message is being sent in, right? We asking at this point in time, while it have good law enforcement are doing their job, and plenty of the law enforcement, we asking them to wake up and do what the TTPS slogan say, protect and serve with pride. Go out and do all the job, right? Don't sit down and just play games and play all they don't care and all them things. Look, in the morning time, it have in the nation roads where it have traffic jam, people busy going to their jerry business. Police officers supposed to go out there, not and divert the traffic. Do all the job, now, man. You understand? Do all the job. Be something in society. Long time when we going down the road and when we see a police officer, you know what you have to do? You say, "Good morning, sir." You understand? Nowadays, people don't even care about that. Because the police they're not showing the citizens that the intention is to protect and serve with pride. This is a very serious thing. And before I go, because it have plenty people is always be looking on, I asking for the authorities in the Ministry of Works, right? In them by them traffic light and them boy. It has some big hole, and I don't know over the years. Because long time we see a massive paving going on, right? And them by them traffic lights and them, it have, like you're going on the road, it have a belly, and like it's a drain, a long line going straight down, that causing persons to collide with other vehicles. And when that water settle there, sometimes you going over and you run off and hit the next car. And this is a serious thing. I want to thank them police officers also for running down that vehicle by the beatum there. I think that fella went and do a home invasion and they captured them. But the car flipped over. Lennox, later, boy, thanks again.
Yes, St. Joseph, Landa Plain, St. Joseph, Landa Plain, St. Joseph.
Lennox, good night again.
Yeah, okay then. Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Well, people, of course, we have very little time for that very expansive topic that we have engaged in. I think we will further engage in next week. Oh boy, in next week Monday. But let's go quickly to this final call. President, good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night, Mr. Lennox and my brother COP. No, I'm not a long speaker.
Yes.
Lennox, this morning I went down by my landlord to launch a complaint because I have a problem. You know my landlord?
Yes, AGC.
Right. Okay. So I see this one we call Doggy Look Bone. See him sneaking out of AGC. I'm glad for the opportunity. He and Talk City. Frenchland. I can call in the program. I'm telling people about whole lot. That's you know. They must active. All of your campaign 91.9. The opportunities I'm glad for them. And French and my rights and tell me I mustn't call in the program. When you see me, I don't know. I say nasty dog with mensch.
I hear you.
It's like KFC now. Yeah. Your French and my rights because you get thing. But I doing that too, no, Lennox. You know that? Lennox, you know going on? Right. I doing that too. I joined in the clan. I go and have a blessed night until.
I hear you. But people, of course, let me go quickly to see if I could sort of dissect what was said with respect to religion and the divisive, as a divisive mechanism used by, of course, certain elements. But whilst I agree, I want to say that over time, we would have had, of course, the insertion of the Presbyterian Church, for example, and a large section of the Indian community have gravitated, in other words, abandoned what I consider to be motherland religion, Hindu. So we have that existed. Of course, because of the cosmopolitan nature of Trinidad and Tobago and the freedom of worship over the years, what has evolved is that there has been a cross-mixing. So whilst you didn't have a major gravitation of Africans to the Hindu religion, for example, but you had a major portion of the Indians coming here with their Muslim religion, and what we have as well is a relatively safe number of Africans gravitating to Islam. Right. So we have this, what I consider to be hodgepodge, this mix. And therefore, when one comes down now to the African, let's say, African inherited, if you want to call that, religion, really and truly, it boils down, of course, to the Orishas and what we call the spiritual and shouter Baptists. And I think because they are mainly Africans, the PNM have, of course, exploited, or put another way, settled with this particular group and hoping that somehow those who would have gravitated and that cross-pollination that would have existed between Indians and Africans in terms of adopting different religion to what is traditionally theirs, we have seen a situation where, for example, the Shouter Baptist community, which, of course, in my view, Archbishop Barbara Gray Burke has focused upon and decided, of course, to lay her bucket down in terms of acquiring this holiday for the Shouter Baptist community. What the PNM would have done in recognizing that, they then again put wedges inside of there. Because remember, it was not just an Indian African scenario as far as PNM UNC is concerned, or any version or any variation of the UNC, because we had different versions of the UNC prior to the current one, since of course they went to that Savannah and created, of course, the UNC emerging from that. I'm talking about Aranguez. But I want note to be taken that the wedging of the PNM and the gravitation of religious groups, particularly the traditional African, is a reality, and it exists today. You see, I have been fortunate to be with Archbishop Burke and of course and the late other Archbishop Randu, to meet with Manning, for example, and he was, just as Eric Williams, he was bent on having a cathedral for the Baptist community. And we were at pains to tell him, just as the Hindus, there are different sects or different sections of the Hindu community, just as there is Muslims, etc. They're the Shiites, they are the Sunnis in terms of the Muslims. It's the same thing. And therefore you cannot have a cathedral for the Baptist community. It will be a huge misnomer and a misunderstanding as to the reality on the ground. Because the Shouter Baptists, their dogma and their spiritual, let's say, practices are different to that of the spiritual Baptists. In some instances, no woman could be a bishop in the spiritual Baptist sector. But in the Shouter Baptist, as you would have seen, Archbishop Burke would have, of course, ordained several female bishops. So these are the nuances, and that's why I've always said that because people don't take the time to understand the socio-economic, psycho-cultural dynamics of places like Laventille and so on, the prescription that they provide eventually becomes null and void and of no effect, particularly when coming to behavioral change, when coming to the paradigm shift that is required, when coming, of course, to the easing and the sustainable reduction in crime, criminality, of course, gang warfare, and all of that, because these young people today are not so attached to religion to make the claim today that because of that, they are so fragmented that they can be exploited. No, it's a different ballgame altogether. So it is much more complex than my friend today, that is. I understand the historical context, but when one looks at the modern dynamics, you have to say that that would have been a bit obsolete. At one time it might have been so. Eric William and they were able, of course, to brainwash and to dominate and to provide an ideological foundation for the older heads. And I want to be specific here, all of those persons today who are in the 80s and 70s and so on, not so much the 60s and the 50s and then later down the road. Not so. So that is why 1986 happened. Yes, I understand the role of NJAC in 1970, but that contributed to what transpired in 1986, because there was a gravitation either away or a gravitational pull, and therefore a cross-pollination of a different attraction depending on one's use, one's status, one's position, one's ideology, as to which religion to choose from to gravitate. But to say that because of that fragmentation per se, that the PNM was able, yes, to some extent, but it is not the entire story. I want to leave it there because we have to continue with this on Monday. I think it is too important for people not to understand why it is that we are here today. Are you saying that the young people, for example, of African stock in Laventille and so on, are gravitating, or somehow the Baptist, whatever fraction, are influencing their behavior, I leave everyone with that, including of course our friends, to take time to evaluate and to return on Monday to, of course, let us hear what he has to say with respect to the modernization, the modern Trinidad and Tobago, cosmopolitan, multi-ethnic, multiracial, multi-ideological, etc., etc. So, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. Of course, let me ask Dr. COP to give his closing remarks, and then, of course, I'll have mine, and we will make our departure.
Lennox, you with this doctor thing, and I have people all in the chat calling me doctor. Look, people in the chat, that is not for all you. That is not for all you. That is not for the callers and them. Lennox Smith wanted to do it. It's okay for him to do it. But from coming from the chat there, I don't feel privileged for that. But I'll take it from Lennox. But look at I contented. You all classify me as COP, and I contented with that. Let me say good night to all the listeners and viewers of the Corridor Transformation, and thank you for locking on to the Corridor Transformation. Make sure and share the live, subscribe to the channel, and press that notification. For Monday, I'm looking forward to hear some new callers. I'm looking forward for it. Every caller should have at least a little 4 or 5 minutes rather than 6, 7, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me build the program and let me invite other callers, more people on the chat and them. It have many people that want to call in because the messaging man telling me, but they find some callers has been taking long. I want to tell them, don't get vexed with the callers that taking long. They were the first callers on them. They start on the program on them, and because you all not calling in, that is why they're staying so long. But I want to tell the long callers on them, let me be a little shorter on the calls on them and let us build the program and give space for others. And thank you so much for being part of the Corridor Transformation. Good night, and I'll see you Monday.
Yes, if I had to say it, I couldn't say it better, so I would stay right there. You see why I call him doctor? But I want to say, of course, tomorrow morning we are on the ground report, of course, Andy, myself, and Snipes. We will continue, I'm sure, with this kind of direction because it's important. Of course, it came as a result of people trying to beseech us and hoodwink us and gaslight us and telling us, don't talk about the PNM because, of course, the UNC is in government. We will take no such bait. We will take no such bait. Because, as I told one man, I think the boss man, I said, listen, if you inherit a house from let's say, your parents, and, of course, there's broken windows and it needs to be repaired. When they ask you, where you get the house? How do you get the house? Who get the house? Where you go say, it come from the sky? It come from the sky, but because the house is there. So there must have been a reason why it is so ramshackle or why it is in need of all of that because you inherited. Well, it's the same way the UNC coalition of interest has inherited a government or let's say a country soon after the PNM was out of office, and therefore it is incumbent, it is an imperative, it is a necessity that you must say what transpired, how it came to be, how it is, before you can not just apply prescriptions and to move forward. So we'll have none of it. And especially when I was not hearing, and I was wrong, not hearing that when the PNM was castigating and maligning and double focus on the UNC. And Rowley's, of course, on his tirades and them, when he would say, you want to put, of course, members of the Kamala Prasad Bissessa administration between 2010 and 2015 in handcuffs and blue lights. Remember that? I have not heard people saying, I didn't hear people saying to tell the PNM, don't focus on the UNC or the government. Don't try that. We will not be lured. We will not be so insulted. We will not be so what? Insulted. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And yes, we catch all you. Yes, indeed. But listen to Rowley, of course, with Snake in the Balize. I know he can't sing, but of course, maybe because of the loose mouth that he would have had, the loose denture.
Giolete was messed up. Nadia was messed up.
Snakes in the country.
Speedy
I
Gonzalez
want
was
to
messed
invoke
up.
the doctor and then write him a letter. I want to ask him a question. If he knew what was going on, the other day I was passing. I hear people complaining. He is the man with the answer, but he quite over yonder. They say, snake in the valley, snake in the valley.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Snake in the valley, and they biting hard. Snake in the valley, I'm sorry for Trinidad. Snakes in the country, man, they work them when they're making the racket. They just dress up in nice jacket. Some big fat mackerel drink out the oil in the oil well. I want to invoke the doctor and then write him a letter. I want to ask him a question. If he knew what was going on, the other day I was passing. I hear people complaining. He is the man with the answer, but he quite.
Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can foretell our country's fate. Move and use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you